What's going on, guys? Magnowan here with another update on the Warlock character. It's the end of day 3, so I guess this is the day 2 to 3 update. And I have crushed the campaign, and I am well into my monolith journey now. And the character performed really well. I had basically no problems. At one point, when I allocated in the fissure skill tree, I believe it's called, of gloom and flames, that increased the mana for that skill by about, I think it's 80%. And so that kind of caused a little bit of a mana issue for a while there. But round about the time I finished the campaign and got into monoliths, I picked up some additional points from other parts of the tree, as well as a few pieces of gear that really fixed that. And so now I'm almost never actually running out of mana when I'm, just running through killing stuff. The clear seems really good, and I will probably actually just continue to try and gear this character and push further into monoliths so that I can, get my thoughts together to make some kind of a 1.0 review that's a little bit more holistic and kind of go through different parts of the game and share my thoughts with you. But as far as the character itself goes, I stuck mostly to the max roll guide for the Warlock leveling, and that turned out to be a pretty good choice. And I know there are some variants to the build that are more endgame focused, where you switch out Rip Blood and Bone Curse as far as your skill specializations and grab some other stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I think there's also a low life variant that uses some unique items to achieve that. And maybe if I really get invested, I will switch to that. But so far, this character has performed so well that I'm not feeling like I need to switch to a different style of play. Maybe as I get further in, that will become necessary. But as of now, it's just worked. It's been good. The servers were a problem for me again on both on Thursday and Friday. There were significant periods where either I couldn't log in or I had some literal 5 to 10 minute loading screens between zones where then it would just fail to load, and then I would have to, run away from the door and run back or occasionally log back in. And so I feel like I could have gotten to where I am now significantly faster if there hadn't been those issues. I've seen a lot of really weird takes floating around on YouTube about the way that people should feel about the launch, and a lot of folks I see throwing around there's an offline mode, and I got to tell you that kind of rubs me the wrong way. There are some changes to the base game that I think are meaningful, but are not transformative. The main thing that is driving the release is the introduction of the ability to trade. And the idea that any large percentage of the player base is going to be happy to just play in an environment where none of that is possible, to me, is a little bit crazy. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that it's cool that there are so many people flaming 11th hour games. I mean, you can tell based on the developers being pretty cool about giving updates, and they're very active on their Discord and so on and so forth. It sucks to see a bunch of people just shitting on them, but at the same time, I don't know if the offline mode is really the panacea that should be used as an excuse to kind of assuage everybody's woes. Another thing that I saw that kind of sucks is the Steam reviews. I see just tons of people giving, negative reviews on Steam just because of the server status, and I know that seems to me to be a little bit shitty. You're kind of a douche if you're gonna try and actually go and damage the longevity of a game on Steam like this from a small development company. Just because their launch didn't go the way they wanted it to. I think that kind of sucks. So both of those things I thought were pretty weird, and you hate to see it. But the reality is the servers have been pretty poor. It's now 1:30, I believe, on Saturday morning, And so at this point, I'm in monoliths and I'm not really experiencing any server issues anymore. But like I said, they kind of had, 3 full days where there were significant problems. And so I understand why people are mad, but I guess I'm repeating myself at this point. The offline mode is not an excuse, and people who are review bombing because of the unfortunate launch situation are not awesome. That's the moral of my story there. Now, in terms of gearing the character, here is my character screen. I've been able to essentially cap out all my resistances with the exception of void resistance. I don't know where I'm going to get some more of that. We will see. And I've got my bleed chance over 100% partially accomplished with some of these little idols over here. And I found a pretty good wand that's got some good stuff on there. And I'm still using these gloves that need to be upgraded, but I haven't been able to get one with the mods I wanted where I could that already had frailty on hit or that I could add on. So that's kind of the next thing I'm hoping to find. And then I guess I'll just kind of hover over the rest of the items there. Still definitely very much a starter situation. I'll be looking to upgrade basically everything. And as I said, I'm just kind of getting into monoliths now. And I'll probably throw some footage up. As far as the damage goes, it's fantastic. And I don't know if I ended up throwing any of the boss footage from the campaign or from the first monolith or two into the video. Who knows? But in any event, the boss damage is fantastic. And I am finding that I really enjoy the ward mechanic. And the concept of playing a pure caster and just running in and standing in the middle of giant packs of mobs and being able to suddenly generate sometimes as much as like 2 or 3 times my actual health pool in ward and kind of maintain that even while I'm taking damage is really kind of cool. I know I've seen a few other people on YouTube that have builds that do a similar thing and even take it to the to the nth degree where they're generating insane amounts of ward. But normally I don't go for defensive type mechanics. Those aren't really normally the things that draw me in. But in this case, it has it's gotten me invested in a way that I was not expecting. And so that has been a pleasant surprise. I like the mechanics of the fissure skill and the way that it interacts with all the other skills. And one thing that I think is really cool about the game that I did not experience in other characters that I played during other patches is that you can specialize in a skill that you are not actively using. So in my case, Rip Blood and Bone Curse, I'm not actually using either of those. They just get triggered by other skills that I use. But you can still go in and, sort of pick the way that you want them to interact once they get triggered. And I just think that's really cool. It's very engaging. And I still maintain that the crafting system is probably the best in the genre. If you have watched any of my Path of Exile content, you know that I straight up don't craft. I will happily pay 2 or 3 times or more the actual value of an item, on the trade side as opposed to just buying mats and crafting it myself. In Path of Exile, I just don't dig it. I don't think it's the complexity of the system that bothers me. I enjoy that. There's just kind of a tedious element to it, a spammy, sort of gambly type situation that goes on with a lot of PoE crafting, at least in my experience, that I don't really enjoy. And in Last Epoch, there's definitely some of that, but not nearly as much spam. There's almost no spam, really. There is a little bit of gamble going on with each thing that you do to an item, but generally speaking, it's a game where much more than in Path of Exile, I find myself crafting just about every item that I equip on the character. And very few things are just, dropped on the ground and then equipped without being changed at all. I'm interested to see how my perspective on that changes once I get further into the guild thing, the Merchant's Guild or whatever it's called, and actually start having access to buying items. And I haven't messed around with that almost at all. I did the quest to unlock it, and that was about it. And I think that is basically all I'll say for now. I had a really good time. The campaign continues to be, I think, the best campaign of any ARPG that I have played. There are some problems. Maybe I'll talk about those a little bit more when I do a, kind of a review situation a little bit later on. But there were some minor problems that I encountered in previous playthroughs that haven't changed. And I definitely wish the campaign was a little bit longer. It would be cool if there were a couple more major bosses that had, more interesting mechanics. But all in all, I enjoyed the campaign. The character is cool. The Warlock specialization, mastery, whatever they're called, is really neat. I don't regret at all making this character as opposed to the Werebear character that I was thinking about doing before launch day came. It was kind of a last minute choice I made, like, I'll just try the Warlock. And I'm glad that I did. If I do another character, I think I want to try the Falconer. It seems like a lot of people are really enjoying that. So, yeah, let me know down below what you guys are playing. How is the server working for you now that it's been a couple days? Are you in monoliths? How's that going? All that stuff. And if you found anything interesting or engaging in the video, please do give me a like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. I appreciate you.